There is a moment after 50 when something that used to feel important can suddenly feel strangely exhausting. You are getting dressed for an event and realize you no longer care whether the outfit looks impressive enough. Someone mentions a new car, a promotion, a vacation, or a renovation, and you notice that you are not automatically comparing your life to theirs. You say something honest in a conversation without spending the next hour wondering whether everyone approved. For many Gen X adults, this can feel almost suspicious. Because for decades, being impressive had a purpose. It could help you belong. It could protect you from being underestimated. It could tell other people that you were doing well, even during periods when you were barely holding things together. And sometimes, it helped you tell yourself the same thing. This does not mean everyone reaches 50 and stops caring what other people think. And it does not mean caring about reputation is immature. Human beings are social. Other people's opinions can affect relationships, work, opportunity, and belonging. But there is a difference between caring about how you affect people and organizing your identity around how you appear to them. That difference can become easier to notice in midlife. Think about how much energy impression management can quietly require. You enter a room and immediately make calculations. Am I successful enough? Interesting enough? Young enough? Useful enough? Am I saying the right thing? Does my life look like it turned out the way it was supposed to? Nobody has to ask these questions out loud. You can carry them automatically. And Gen X spent much of adulthood in a culture where visible achievement often became a kind of shorthand for success. Career. House. Marriage. Children. Responsibilities. Competence. Keeping everything moving. So imagine someone in their 50s sitting at dinner with people they have known for years. The conversation turns to careers. Someone talks about money. Someone talks about their children's achievements. Someone describes a beautiful trip. 20 years earlier, this person might have felt an immediate need to contribute something equally impressive. But now they listen. And something surprising happens. They do not feel behind. They do not feel compelled to prove anything. They simply eat their dinner. That can look like disengagement from the outside. Psychologically, it may be something very different. It may be that the reward for impressing people has become smaller than the effort required to maintain the performance. That is an important shift. Because trying to impress others is rarely just about vanity. Sometimes it is about security. If people admire you, perhaps they will respect you. If they respect you, perhaps they will not dismiss you. If they see you as competent, perhaps they will keep needing you. If they keep needing you, perhaps your place is secure. So the performance can become attached to belonging. And when that happens, letting go of the performance can feel risky. You may notice it the first time you say, "I don't know," without embarrassment. Or when you admit that you do not want the promotion. Or when someone buys something expensive and you genuinely do not care. Or when you stop explaining why your life looks different from theirs. These can seem like small behaviors. But underneath them is a larger question: what happens when approval is no longer the main evidence that you are living correctly? For some people, that creates relief. For others, it creates uncertainty. Because when you stop performing success, you have to decide what success actually means to you. And that is harder. It is easier to measure a title, a salary, a house, or applause than to measure whether your days actually feel like your own. This is where the change after 50 can become psychologically interesting. You may not be becoming less ambitious. Your ambition may simply be changing direction. Instead of wanting to look successful, you may care more about having control over your time. Instead of wanting the biggest social circle, you may care more about relationships where you do not have to perform. Instead of wanting people to envy your life, you may care more about not needing a vacation from it. And instead of asking, "How does this look?" you begin asking, "How does this feel to live?" That is not the same as giving up. In some cases, it may be the opposite. You stop spending energy maintaining an image and start using that energy to make choices that fit the person you have actually become. But there is a caution here. Not caring what anyone thinks can become its own performance. "I don't care" can sometimes hide defensiveness, disappointment, or fear of criticism. There is a difference between freedom from approval and contempt for feedback. You still need people who can tell you when you are wrong. You still need relationships where your behavior has consequences. You still need enough openness to ask whether your choices affect others. The goal is not indifference. It is proportion. Whose opinion deserves weight? About what? And why? Maybe that is one of the quieter changes of getting older. You do not stop caring. You become more selective about whose judgment gets to become your identity. So the next time you notice that you no longer want to impress someone, do not immediately assume you have lost motivation. Ask a more useful question. What am I no longer trying to prove? Because sometimes the answer is not that you care less about life. It is that you are finally separating the life you actually want from the life that merely looks impressive from the outside. And after 50, that can feel less like losing ambition and more like becoming recognizable to yourself. If this helped you understand a change you have been noticing in yourself, continue with the next Inner Life Decoded video. And subscribe for more psychology about the patterns that become easier to recognize in midlife.